Church, good morning. Today we are in Galatians chapter 2. Just a few quick thoughts that I took from the reading today. One is that Paul was concerned in the beginning of this chapter to point out that even though he was independent of the other apostles in Jerusalem, he was careful to say that they also had essential unity and harmony on the idea that the simple gospel is simply that we are saved, we are justified by faith in the Lord, not by works. And he said the apostles in Jerusalem, Peter, James, and John, gave him the right hand of fellowship and all of their affirmation in his mission work among the Gentiles, so that they were really unified in this. I'm also really struck about how Paul does not have fear of man, that what he has is fear of God, and he wants to obey God. And so he is able to confront the legalizers who want Barnabas and Titus to be circumcised. He is able to even confront Peter when Peter is not acting in accordance with his own beliefs up in Antioch, withdraws his fellowship from the Gentile believers when his fellow Jews come up from Jerusalem. And Paul he's able to stand up to the great apostle Peter and say, you're not in the right here. You're being a hypocrite in this regard. And one of the things that many of us can struggle with is a fundamental fear of man, a fear of other people that can intimidate us to the point where we are not being true to the Lord. And so I think this is a great reminder to us that as we really renew our mind in the Lord, that we can be free of the fear of man. The other thing that strikes me in this passage is that Paul brings up a common objection to the simple gospel, and that is that if we tell people that works is not a source of salvation, then people are just going to go sin, and the gospel is just going to be a promoter of sin in people's lives because it's all under grace. And Paul's going to say that understanding misses one of the most important things of the gospel of Jesus Christ, and that is when we trust in the Lord by faith, he now lives in us. The sinful nature is crucified, it is dead, Christ lives in us. The life we live in the body, we now live in faith to the Lord, wanting all of our lives and actions to glorify him. And so it's really a fundamental impossibility that when Christ is in us, that we want to sin or desire to sin. We do stumble into it, but it's not something that's fundamental to us anymore. We don't want to do that. It's not the direction of our life. And so when the gospel is reigning and ruling in us, what we want to do is please and glorify the Lord. And so the simple gospel does not encourage people to sin, as that objection sometimes is brought up. So let's continue to live inside of grace and not live in the fear of man, glorify God with our lives today, and live in the faith and love of the Lord Jesus Christ. Have a great day.